And we're fortunate enough to have George Oliveira with us today, and he is going to, he just told me, exciting, he just got another internship, and I don't need, he can tell you how many, he'll tell you about his experience at Oregon State, his year, his degree, and give a couple of examples of internships that he's had, because I knew that he would be a great example for you to hear from a student about internships. So take it.
Thanks, Jennifer. So yeah, I go to Oregon State as well, and I'm majoring in construction engineering and management. Luckily, when I came out of high school, I came into an encounter with one of these old referees that used to ref me in high school, and he worked at an engineering firm, and he asked me what my plans were for the future, and he told me that he could get me an internship with his company up in Redmond. And the firm was a surveying and engineering company. And so I went up there and I interviewed with them. They're all really nice and open to have an intern that was coming out of high school. So they put me in the surveying department, which, I mean, not that it lacked less knowledge, but it was more suited for me at the time, because I hadn't even gone to school to, take any engineering classes at all. But yeah, I was there with them and I did everything a surveyor would do. And I got to learn, a lot about what an engineer does and what a surveyor does. And so that was a really cool experience. I got to travel all over Oregon. We got a lot of the ODOT jobs all around Oregon. So if you see any highway jobs or anything like that, the company I worked for, a lot of the times, their survey company would take over those projects. So that was really fun and got to get paid some prevailing wage. So for those of you who don't know, that's just a lot of money per hour. So that was a plus. And yeah, I get a lot of experience going into that. And now that I'm 2 years into school, I'm actually taking a survey class. And looking back on the internship, it really helped me to succeed in that class. And then I stayed with them throughout the next year, in contact with them while I was at OSU. And then the following summer, after my first year at OSU, the boss, the owner, put me into the engineering department, and I really got to take advantage of all the programs they have. Like there's one called AutoCAD, that's a big drawing software. Got some really good experience there. And the thing is, for mine, it was a small firm. So he really kind of let me go on projects. And a lot of the times where companies have like a set internship program for, college students, and they kind of only let them do a certain amount of things. But the company I was at, they really let me go. So as far as like where you intern, it all depends like who it is. Like if it's a smaller firm, they might let you do more things. They might let you be more free. If it's a bigger firm, they could, you're going to be doing just one thing and you might not get as much experience. But you'll still gain a lot of experience just being there and, picking up on certain things. And then those were 2 summers. And then this summer I got an internship with this company up in Salem. And they do construction all around Oregon as well. And they have a site in Bend, and they placed me there. So I'm going to be there all summer and doing some like supervision stuff, working in the office, doing some drops. And so I hope that's going to be a good experience as well. But I mean, if I could give any advice, it'd be, have internships, but also be willing to move to a different internship, because if you're just stuck in one place, you're only, fixed to that type of knowledge. That's what the first internship I was at, that's what my boss told me. He said, I want you to go to other companies because you start learning more, you pick up other things from different people. And I mean, at the end of the day, when you go to apply for a real job, a full-time job, you have all these things that you can say, I did this and I did this, I have experience doing this. And it really puts you up the list for, picking up a job.
So what do you think the most valuable thing you've gained from these experiences so far has been? I mean, have you learned like what you like and what you don't like, or?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as far as like me working for a smaller firm, it put a lot more pressure on me just because I was able to do a lot more things, and that, took responsibility. So I learned a lot from that also, time management, working overtime, doing all those things. The most valuable thing that I learned was just like learning to, I guess, love what you're doing. Because if you hate what you're doing, then like, you know, when you go get your real job, you're gonna be like, man, I don't want to do this anymore, and you just got a 4-year degree for no reason, and that
Yeah.
happens to a lot of people. So I mean, internships is really good to you open your eyes and see what you actually want to do. Yeah, so I was in MECOP, and um, I decided to opt out of that. But I mean, MECOP is a great program. It just didn't suit me personally, but I mean, it suits a lot of people. MECOP is another engineering program through OSU, OIT, University of Portland, and they get internships for students. But for them, the way their process goes is, you know, you get interviews, you get into the program, and then 2 years in, you then go to like, I guess it's kind of like a lottery pick thing, kind of like the NBA does in sports, where companies interview you and they say, okay, this is my top intern that I want, and the companies discuss and say, and they place you there. And for me personally, I wanted to pick, you know, where I wanted to go. So going back to like where you can get internships, OSU, and I'm sure other schools do it too, they have career fairs. And
Oh
if
yeah,
you're in the
good
College
thought.
of Business, College of Business, College of Engineering, College of, you know, Ag Science, all these different colleges, they bring in companies where you can go and talk to them one day, and then the next day they offer interviews, or that week they offer interviews, and I mean, you can get an internship in a matter of, you know, 2 days. So that's another thing you can take advantage of. Yeah, and like so the first internship that I got, that I worked 2 summers for, when I told him I wasn't going to work there anymore and I was going to move on to a different company, um, which he, you know, he was the one that told me to do that. He
Yeah.
said, you know, if you ever need something, or, you know, you need a job, like, we'll always be here. So like, it also gives you another, you know, relationship that you have with, you know, your career
Yes,
that to fall
perfect.
back on. So
It's the contacts, right?
yeah,
Those contact building, and that's really important and a huge piece of the internship. So
yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Very
so like if you have your internship, make sure, you know, have your A game on all the time, because I know everyone's always watching.
right. It is a
And you
little
don't,
nerve-wracking, huh?
yeah, you don't know when that's going to pay off. It's like, oh, you did a really good job here, and it's like, oh, maybe someone knows someone, and he said, oh, he's a really good, you know, worker, and so someone hires you. So you just never
Yeah.
know.
Cool. Cool, cool. And the good thing is if you would have done your internship, like even after your senior year of high school and not enjoyed it, you would have known that that was not the right field for you, and you could have switched at that point. So it's cool to
Yeah,
have an internship at such an early point in your um, education.
yeah, and like you
I
can get
mean,
an internship pretty much, you know, at any age after high school,
yeah,
I guess, or even in high school, I bet.
even in high school, yeah, they're
Yeah,
doing more and more.
yeah, it's just a matter of you actually going out and trying to look for it.
Right. Like I said, ask, right?
Hmm.
It's the same thing I tell students with scholarships. Just ask. You never know which company might have a little bit of money set aside and would be willing to give you a scholarship if you ask. Well, thank you so much for being here
Yeah,
tonight. And it was really cool to hear about all of your fun experiences. And of course, I'll be checking in and wanting to hear more. So